Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna teach you how to draw a face from your imagination, and I already have some videos on my channel on how to draw a face, but those are for if you have a reference photo, which is quite different from your imagination, since you have something to go from. But if you draw it from your head, you only know that a face has two eyes and one nose and one pair of lips, but it can be difficult to get the proportions correct. And whenever I tried to draw a face from my imagination, I always gave up because it didn't turn out good. But this year I was determined to learn, so I practiced until I became better at it and found a way that works for me. So in this video I'm gonna share with you my tips on how to do it the simplest way, at least the simplest way for me. What is helpful for me may not be helpful for you, but hopefully it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna begin with the tutorial. First off, you are going to draw an oval shape, or kind of like an upside down egg, and you don't want to put a lot of pressure with your pencil because you want to have the freedom to change stuff on the face as you go along, just because when you're drawing from your imagination you may find that, oh, the lips look fine but they don't fit with the nose that I've drawn, so you may want to redraw some stuff. So always be very light with your hand. So next you want to draw a round circle, and you want it to cover about the two upper thirds of the oval shape, just like I'm doing right here. And then you're going to draw a vertical line right across the center. And for the facial features, I find it easier to start at the bottom of the face. So here I'm drawing a small circle to act as a guide for the chin. And then right in between the big circle and the small circle, I draw a line to act as a guide for the lips. And as you can see here, I am making a mark kind of where the round circle meets the oval shape, and then I go a little bit further down from that spot and I'm drawing a line straight across. And then you want to make a new line just a little bit above the line that you just drew. So this line is going to be a guide for the eyebrows, and the line below is going to be for the eyes, and the bottom of the circle for the nose, and then we have the mouth and then the chin. And as I said, I find it easier to start with the bottom of the face, so here I am using this guideline to draw the line that is between the upper and the lower lips. And it's a bit tricky to explain exactly like how I'm drawing the lips, but I'm hoping that you can see. And I'm kind of creating this diamond shape to kind of replicate a mouth that is slightly open. And I make this line almost as wide as the circle for the chin, as you can see, and then just a tiny bit above the line that I just drew, I start by making the upper lip, and then I go a tiny bit below that line and I make the bottom lip. And I also use the chin circle as a guide when I'm making the bottom lip, because I don't want the bottom lip to touch the edge of the chin circle. I want it to be just, a tiny bit above. I feel like I've said tiny so many times by now, but it's an easy way to explain. And don't be frustrated if you feel like it doesn't look good the first time, because as you are going to see, I'm erasing stuff and then I'm redrawing them, because when you don't have a reference photo, you don't really know what it's going to look like. So you just try something and then you realize that maybe something looks out of balance or it just looks really odd, so you erase it and then you try again, and it's completely normal, so don't beat yourself up. So next I am going to draw the Cupid's bow, I think it's called. Maybe that's not how it's pronounced, I don't know, I haven't been speaking English in a long time. But yeah, I'm just making this type of shape as I'm showing you next to the drawing. And now it's time to draw the nose. So the bottom of the big circle is going to be the guideline for where the lower part of the nose is starting. So I'm beginning by drawing the nostrils. So in the middle, I'm kind of drawing this flat line kind of, and then I just go a bit upwards, and I mean you can kind of see what I'm doing. It's a bit tricky to explain in full detail, but yeah, I think I filmed this very well so you can see it pretty well. So just follow along. And just a little bit above the line for the nostrils, I make another line following that line. So this will kind of create a shadow, I guess you could call it. And then I'm making a small circle to make kind of like a highlight. And to draw the upper part of the nose, you wanna draw a line between the line that you made for the eyebrows and for the eyes. So you just draw a line like this. It's not supposed to be super straight, obviously, as you can see, and you want to use the lower part of the nose as a guide to know where to even begin drawing that line. And as you could see, I realized that one part of the nostril was a bit too small, so I made it slightly bigger just to balance everything, because the lines at the upper part of the nose weren't really centered, so I needed to make the line to the left further away from the center, so that's why I needed to make that nostril slightly bigger. And then you are going to use the nostrils as a guide to know where to begin drawing the inner parts of the eyes, as you can see that I did right here. And to know how wide the eye should be, I make a mark right between the first mark that I did for the eye and the edge of the oval shape. As you can see here, it's right in the middle, kind of. Maybe not exactly, but you know what I mean, right? So that's approximately how wide it's going to be. You may want to go slightly outwards, maybe, if you find that it's too small, because maybe it is, but it works pretty fine. And if you want to learn more in detail how to draw an eye, I have plenty eye tutorials on my channel. I can link them in the description box. But for this face, as you can see, I'm drawing the top of the eye above the line, and then you want to draw the lower waterline just slightly below the line. And then I just go ahead and draw the lower eyelid, and then also, of course, the upper eyelid. And then you are just gonna go ahead and draw the rest of the eye. And as I said, I have a tutorial on how to do it more in detail if you feel like you need it, because I mean it can be a bit tricky to do it just from your imagination if you are not used to it. So if you watch my tutorials, you can definitely gain a few tips and tricks to be better at drawing eyes. And again, don't feel discouraged if you feel like you need to erase a lot. It happens to me too sometimes, and especially when I draw the second eye. I know a lot of people are struggling with drawing the second eye because it can be difficult, because you want them to match in size and all that stuff, and you want the person to be looking in the same direction on both eyes. You don't want them to look to two completely different directions, because I mean, it looks weird. Sometimes, you know, when I can't get the pupils right, I just don't fill in the eye. I just leave it completely blank, and it actually can turn out into, you know, a cool drawing by doing that. So it's nothing wrong to do that if you feel like you are not there yet. But yeah, it's definitely normal to have to erase more on the second eye, because yeah, you want them to match, and it can be tricky to get it on your first try. But of course, the two eyes don't have to be exact mirrored copies of each other, because many people actually have different eyelids. One eyelid may be a bit more rounded and one is more hooded. So don't stress yourself out too much trying to get them to look perfect. The most important part, I think, is for the face to look good as a whole. So don't strive to draw, you know, the perfect nose or the perfect eyes or whatever, because you just want this stuff the features to be proportional and fit the face. Because it's like when people say, you know, that they hate their nose, but if they had a completely different nose, their face would probably look weird, because the nose that they have, I mean, it fits their face and the rest of their features and makes their face look good as a whole. And for the eyebrows, as you can see, I'm drawing the eyebrow slightly below the eyebrow line, and then when I'm drawing the arch of the brow, I'm doing it pretty much on top of the line. And if you've been following this tutorial by now, you may find that your eyebrow ends up too close or too far away from the eye. Because it kind of depends on how far away you've drawn the eyebrow line from the eye line. And I mean, this eyebrow line is just as a guide. You don't have to draw the eyebrow below the eyebrow line. If you feel like for your drawing it looks better if you draw it on top of the line or above the line, that is completely okay. This is just a line to show approximately where the eyebrow should go, and if you draw the eyebrow below or on top of above the line, doesn't really matter. And next we are gonna work on the face shape. So I'm starting off by drawing the temple here, just making the line go slightly inwards and then kind of following the oval that I just made, but I actually made the forehead a bit shorter just because I thought I had made it a bit too long and narrow. And then I want to do some cheekbones, so I just slightly round it a bit. It looks a little bit like Squidward, so I erase and replace, just to show you. Actually, I did mess up, but this shows you that you don't want to make the cheekbone like too prominent. And then right below the mouth line, it is so difficult to say mouth when you have Invisalign on your teeth. I just realized, like, the TH sound is so difficult. Anyway, below that line you are gonna make an arch for the jawbone, as you can see that I did, and then you connect it, you know, towards the chin. And then you do the exact same thing on the other side. And as you can see here, I'm not following the oval to a T. You don't have to either, because I didn't want the chin and the jaw to look too pointed. So you can do it like I'm doing right here, or maybe you can look at a reference photo for face shapes. So difficult to talk. And when you have drawn the face shape, you may notice that it doesn't look as good as you want, so maybe you need to redo a few parts just to make everything look balanced. And hopefully by this point you are gonna have something that looks like a face. I'm just gonna go ahead and do some shading just to give the face some life and depth. And I'm not gonna do it realistically, I'm gonna do it more sketch-like. And I actually have a video on different ways that I like to shade when I make more, sketch-like drawings. If you are interested, I will put the link in the description box or as a card. But basically what I like to do the most at the moment is to draw lines, as you could see me doing to the right. So I just draw lines closer together and maybe put a bit more pressure with the pencil if I want an area to have a darker shadow, and if I want it to be lighter, I draw the lines a bit further away and I don't put as much pressure with the pencil. So since I already have a video on that and I don't want to make this video too long, I'm not going to go into full detail on the shading part, because it's basically just drawing those diagonal lines. It's as simple as that, and I focus mostly on doing that next to the features, and I also accentuate the lines around the eyes a bit more, as you can see here, and I also fill in the eyebrows more to make the features pop. And as you can see here, I'm not shading as much by the cheeks and forehead, just because, again, I want the features to pop, so I want to focus mostly on those when I'm shading. And when you're going to draw the neck, I like to use the corners of the mouth as a guideline. I draw them slightly outside of that, so yeah, but it depends on how big you drew the mouth, of course. And for the ears, I like to use the eye line and the bottom of the circle where we drew the nose as a guideline. And actually, I don't think I'm that good at drawing ears. So what I like to do, this is a bit of a trick, I only draw one ear and then I let the hair cover the other ear, like on the other side. And sometimes if I feel like I'm struggling too much, I just let the hair cover the ears on both sides, just so that I don't have to draw them. So yeah, on this other side I just drew a bit so you can see the earlobe, but the rest of the ear, it will be hidden by the hair. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I do think it's difficult to draw hair without a reference photo, so this is definitely not the nicest hair that I have drawn. You don't even have to copy it, and I don't have a good explanation on like this is how I do it, because I have a tutorial on how to draw hair. I actually have two, but those are from a reference photo, but you could use those, you know, to gain some tips and some guidelines on how to draw hair, I guess, and maybe you could draw it better than I did. But since I wanted to cover one ear, I decided that on that side I wanted the hair to fall back behind the shoulder. And also, since we had that vertical line that we did in the beginning at the center of the face, I thought, you know, that will be a good guideline to know where to part the hair. And then on the other side, since I drew an ear there, I just decided to let the hair go behind the ear, and I like to make some shading, you know, kind of below the ears and next to, or like at the sides of the neck, as you can see here, because usually you have more like darker shadows there if you look at a photo of someone. I actually erased parts of the hair and redid it many times. I even think I did it off camera after I had finished filming, and actually that is something that I encourage you to do. Not mess up and all that stuff, but put your drawing aside once you feel like you're done, or just give it a break even if you're not done, because sometimes that's what you need, and then you come back and look at it and see if there's anything that you don't like and you can redo it. And by the way, I know that people are probably not gonna like that I sped up the video when I drew the hair, but as I said, I think I had better videos on how to draw hair, even though those are if you have a reference photo. But I still think you can gain more tips from those. And also, I wanted this video to focus mostly on the face and how to, you know, get the proportions right, and yeah, how to draw the facial features basically. So not so much focus on the hair. Anyways, that was all I had to say for this video. If you watched it all the way to the end, I want to thank you so much, and I really hope it was helpful for you. If it was, then don't forget to leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to watch future tutorials, and I will see you in my next video.